The Detroit Lions are doing the absolute impossible. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Detroit Lions news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. So the first story is the Detroit Lions take away the Thanksgiving victory over the Chicago Bears, and here are some of the takeaways from that game. Now, the Detroit Lions would not have defeated the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving without a historic blunder from the Bears head coach. After a dominant but low-scoring first half for Detroit, Chicago clawed their way back and were on the doorstep with a chance to tie or win. Instead, thanks to horrific time management from Eberflus, the Lions walked away victorious. Detroit may have walked away with a Thanksgiving win to snap their holiday losing streak, but it was far from a pretty outing. The offense had one of their quietest performances of the year, while the defense keeps losing players. The fact remains the Lions are getting devastated by the injury bug. Already missing a bevy of front 7 players, the Lions' depth was torpedoed even further on Thanksgiving. Both Levy and Josh Pascal were ruled out after sustaining leg injuries in the first half. One of their replacements, rookie Mekhi Wingo, briefly left the second half with a knee injury. Malcolm Rodriguez suffered a knee injury halfway through the fourth quarter and did not return. DJ Reader and Zadarius Smith were both banged up in the fourth quarter but returned shortly after. With Smith leaving on 2 separate occasions, Detroit has already been scraping the bottom of their depth, but losing 3 staples of their defense is yet another blow they will have to weather down the stretch. Players like Al-Qadim Muhammad and Pat O'Connor, 2 players that were not the team entering training camp, will be leaned upon to maintain a stalwart defensive line. Trevor Nowasaki, Ben Neiman, David Long, and Ezekiel Turner might have to fill the potential void at linebacker on a team already missing Alex Anzalone and Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Now, this is definitely something that we need to watch out for when it comes to Detroit Lions fans, as it does seem that the injuries are starting to add up. Now, Detroit Lions are definitely not slowing down, that is completely true, but it would definitely be very beneficial if they are all, being able to play, especially when it comes to playoff time and hopefully Super Bowl time for this Detroit Lions team. We have heard this time and time again, but injuries can definitely be the downfall for any team, because when it comes to playoff time, it is definitely serious business and every team is looking to win with that same amount of hunger. So if Detroit Lions can definitely keep the injuries at bay, it will definitely be beneficial for them as the season continues. Now, for as crippled as the edge defenders have been, the interior has been stout thanks to Alan McNeil and DJ Reader. Reader had an injury scare but was otherwise dominant, and he recorded 2 snacks while tag teaming with McNeil on countless pressures. Caleb Williams was sacked 5 times on the day thanks largely to interior pressure from McNeil and Reader. There was no question that the Lions would not be in their current position without these 2 defensive tackles. The Lions have defeated many teams this year by forcing them to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns. On Thursday, it was the Lions on the wrong side of that trend. Despite a dominant first half, Detroit was forced to settle for 3 short field goals after stalling in enemy territory. The score was just 16-0 at halftime, despite Chicago falling to get a first down until the dying seconds of the second quarter. They mustered just a single second half touchdown the rest of the way. The offense was not at its best for the second week in a row after a modest 24 points against the Indianapolis Colts. The wasted chances did not cost the Lions a loss, but there's still room for concern. They'll need to get it cleaned up if they want to keep rolling against tougher opponents. Next up, we also have the Green Bay Packers and Buffalo Bills, and the Lions will need their offense humming like usual. Now, Jameson Williams has entrenched himself as an important part of the offense, but this can be a positive and negative. In the positive, Williams did some damage on short passes, contrary to his usual deep threat ways. He had a beautiful hurdle on an end around as well, fully clearing a Bears defender. On the negative, he nearly had a fumble that was ruled incomplete by a split second. He later incurred a dumb taunting penalty for throwing the ball into the face of Bears defender after a catch. This pushed Detroit into 2nd and 22 that eventually turned into a missed field goal. Williams is an electrical player. You have to live with the roller coaster that he will give you. Jake Bates missed his first field of the season on a 45-yard attempt thanks to Jim Nantz and his witchcraft. Nantz was praised and then perfect kicker moments before the field goal attempt. He had a similar moment back in 2022 when Michael Bagley missed a short 27-yard field goal to end his perfect streak. The game has also happened in Thanksgiving. So these are definitely some things the Detroit Lions team have to watch out for. The second story is that the Lions did sign LB David Long and Maurice Alexander to the active roster. Now I think they were definitely a great addition to the team. Now linebacker David Long and wide receiver Maurice Alexander have been signed to the active roster, while Khalif Raymond was officially placed on injured reserve. And like we talked about before, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, they definitely have had a bit of trouble when it comes to injuries, and also offensive lineman Jamarco Jones was elevated from the practice squad to the active roster. With Raymond going on injured reserve, the Lions are forced to find new options to handle the return duties. On top of this, the veteran was the team's punter returner and one half of the kick return tandem. Along with quarterback Khalil Dorsey, Alexander could fit this role. Now, on top of this, another option to handle kick return duties is rookie running back Sion Vaki. Though the Utah product has not seen a ton of action on offense, he has developed into a nice special teams contributor. Listen, Vaki is a pretty good special teams player for us. We had a lot of high hopes for him in that regard. Lions head coach Dan Campbell said we felt in the meantime, while he's learning to play the halfback position because he's kind of new and it's something that he hasn't done a lot of, that special teams would be an area that he does help us. And he's done that. He's a core guy for us because he does special teams. He plays like a safety, which is what he was in college. So he's growing, he's continuing, and we slowly try to give him a couple of plays in the offense just to help him. And he's been an asset. And I go back to this, if you can't get him to the game, then you can't use him on other areas. So he has been able to do that. We like him a lot, which is fantastic to see. Now on top of that, when it comes to the Detroit Lions overall, we definitely have seen them do a fantastic job over the last couple of games, and they were able to not only just beat, a nail-biting games in the Chicago Bears, but they were able to do it while really showing the difference that they are from any other playoff potential team. When it comes to this Thanksgiving Day game, it definitely was a big deal for this Detroit Lions team, as they are dealing with a lot of injuries, which is sad to see. But I do believe when it comes to the future for this Detroit Lions team coming into playoff time, it is definitely looking very good. Now Dan Campbell does say Jameson Williams apologized after the penalty, because he actually said this during the interview. All right, happy Thanksgiving. Hey guys, good win. I mean, you find a way to get the W. That's ultimately what we did, and we found a way. Credit to that team. They played hard. We knew they would. Hard fought game, and I just thought there was a number of things, I thought we started off pretty hot offensively. And defensively, getting the 3 outs, really getting them off the field and really chewing up all first half. But the turnover going in, the penalties that we had in the red zone hurt us. A little bit of the details of the passing game hurt us in some things. Thought we ran in it pretty good. But ultimately, that one right before halftime. They go for it on 4th down, we stop them, now we have the ball and we give it back to them. It didn't cost us anything, and that hurts. So that gives you a little momentum. And they come out, they score after halftime, but what I loved is our offense went down and scored. So with week 14 just around the corner, we definitely have some great games on offer, and one of my favorite games is actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Las Vegas Raiders, and we have to go to money on the Buccaneers. So this one's an interesting one, but I am making this bet on BetUS, guys. Definitely go check them out. They have the fastest payouts in the industry, and 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. They also have fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, which I absolutely love. So definitely go check them out. BetUS. I'm going to be making this pick on Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. But definitely go check out BetUS, guys. Like I mentioned, 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. So let's get back into the video. The third story is that Detroit Lions Jameson Williams apologizes for costly taunting penalty versus the Bears. Now, with one flick of the wrist, Jameson Williams made a mistake that nearly cost the Lions dearly. The wide receiver made a short catch in the 4th quarter of the Lions' Thanksgiving win over the Bears and was pushed out of bounds at Chicago's 29-yard line. As Williams ran back onto the field, Chicago defensive back Tyreek Stevenson appeared to say something to him. Williams responded by flipping the ball at Stevenson and hitting him in the face. The move resulted in a 15-yard penalty on the Lions for taunting. The Lions got back to the Bears' 26-yard line on the drive, but Jake Bates missed a 45-yard field goal to leave Detroit ahead just by 10. So it definitely was a close call, but when it comes to what, the Detroit Lions did as a whole, they definitely did play great. Now, the Bears pulled within 3 points with a touchdown on the ensuing drive, and they nearly tied or won the game before running out of time on an incomplete pass in the Lions' 23-20 win. The Detroit Lions may have survived the penalty, but Williams still took ownership of a nearly costly mistake. We're trying to win a football game, so those things like that can happen, Williams said after the game. That's the main thing. Lions coach Dane Campbell said that Williams addressed the team on his own accord after the game and apologized for the mistake. That's big man, Campbell said. That's growth. Lions quarterback Jared Goff said he appreciated how Williams responded to the penalty, and on top of that, he knows that it was a mistake by him.